Hey there. Now, I wanted to give you a couple tips on how to make it through all this quarantine COVID-19 stuff. Now, I know what a lot of my students would say. Well, Mr. Licio, you're not a health teacher or PE teacher or anything like that. You're tech ed. Yes, I am. I am a tech ed teacher. So, no, I'm not a health teacher, PE, or any of that, nor do I claim to be. I will outright admit I am not, a health and wellness teacher, but what I can say with certainty is that in my life, I have spent cumulatively quite a bit of time in similar such circumstances where, you can't go to school or go see your friends or even, admittedly for me and for some people, going outside. So, the first tip I'm going to give is limit how much of the doom and gloom you get. Now, for me personally, this means limiting how much I listen to, news media and all that. I'm not saying, you shouldn't listen to any news or any of that, like, no current events, because honestly, that is a really important thing to hear about and to know because you want to know what's going on. But at the same time, if you're spending, figure there's 24 hours in a day, you're spending hopefully 8 hours of them sleeping. I know some of us get less than that, and there's some people where last night I woke up and I was just like, did I get any sleep? I have no idea. Anyways, that gives you about, 16 hours. Yeah, see, I'm not a math teacher either. I was a math tutor, yeah. Anyways, we all make mistakes. So you got about 16 hours a day. Let's say you spend 10 hours of that watching news stories about everything's awful. Well, you just spent most of your day hearing everything's awful. That's going to give you a very negative mindset. It's going to make you just feel awful. I know that because I've been there. I've been in situations where a lot of what I've heard was not super happy or upgoing, and I didn't feel so good. Both from that and other reasons. Now, my second tip, which also helps with the time that you're spending not, hearing all the doom and gloom, find something that you like to do. For me personally, I'm a tech ed teacher, so for a lot of us, we like tinkering with stuff or fixing things, and that is great fun. If that's something that you're interested in, by all means, feel free to try doing that a little bit, making sure that you're being safe if you're taking something apart or fixing something. Another thing that I like to do, I don't know how many other teachers, is I quite enjoy writing, sometimes on pencil and paper, sometimes on the computer. So, if you are the kind of person who enjoys writing, this could be a wonderful time to, get out a notepad and write something. Or, maybe type up, a book, a story, maybe a little journaling. Whatever is something that you want to do. Please don't think that I'm trying to pressure you into any of this stuff. Another thing that is a fun activity to do now, a lot of people look at it as a rainy day activity. Puzzles. Now, it doesn't have to be this kind of puzzle. It could be any kind of puzzle you want. But those are also a fun activity. Works your brain, gets you, you have to use your hands a bit. You have to really think, does this go here? And then, good fun. Another thing I enjoy is I like to read. I'd say what books I like to read, but I'm sure some of my students and even a lot of people that I, work with or friends with will probably say, "You read that?" And other people will be like, "Oh yeah, you're reading that thing. I don't know how you stood it. I was watching you read and I nearly fell asleep." So, you could grab a book, read, you could practice your spelling. I'm kidding. You could do that. Or for, especially with, I'm sure a lot of my students will be thinking of this, you could spend your time playing some video games, do a little bit of video games. And because I'm sure most of my students have no clue what this is whatsoever, I don't blame you, because this is honestly probably a little older than me. Not by much, maybe a few years. You have other ways to play video games. You can also play your PlayStation, your Nintendo, whatever. Even computer games. And the last thing that I'm gonna give you some advice on for what to do is phones. Now, yes, these are pretty cool, pretty fun device. You can play all sorts of games or even make things. It's also a great way to be social, because in this time of social distancing, it is important to be social. That doesn't mean go and hop over the fence in your neighbor's yard and have a Boy Meets World moment with them. Now that I'm thinking of that, that is probably pretty outdated. Anyways, moving on. If you take your phones, one thing that we couldn't do so many years ago is you can immediately call your friends, your family, anyone. Send them a call, send them over a text or a goofy message. Talk to them. It doesn't need to be anything super in-depth or elaborate. It could be something as simple as, oh, you found a funny meme, and you go and send it to one of your friends or brother, sister, whoever. But it's important to talk with people, because we're not really humans aren't very good at being not talking to each other. I should know, because a lot of people that know me will say I talk a lot. And when I was spending the time that I was in a similar situation like this, I couldn't talk to people a lot, and that was one of the biggest problems. But other than that, do whatever you can to keep yourself engaged, for your mind. Do stuff that's going to make you have fun, make you happy during this time, because being bored is one of the worst things that could happen. And definitely make sure that you do what you can to stay healthy. Yes, I'm not a health teacher, I'm not, PE, all that. But I do know, you want to make sure you take care of your nutrition. There are ways you can, be active or get exercise even with the quarantine going on. You can, walk outside, make sure, keep your distance from other people, wear weather appropriate clothing and whatnot, and just do whatever it is that's going to help you get through this time and make it to where after all this you're ready to get back to doing everything that you were doing before. So I hope you all get to stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully have some good time along the way. All right, bye.